Hey everyone! Do you remember those evenings when you'd rush home from school, grab a snack, and sit down in front of the TV, eagerly awaiting your favorite show? Well, one of the highlights of those evenings was tuning in to watch Ben 10. Join me as we take a trip down memory lane to relive those nostalgic moments together and rediscover why Ben 10 Classic always holds a special place in our hearts. However, before we begin, let us go through some background first. Ben 10 follows Ben Tennyson, who stumbles upon a strange watch-like device during a summer trip with his cousin Gwen and Grandpa Max. This device, known as the Omnitrix, grants him the ability to transform into various alien forms. However, Ben soon discovers that he's not the only one after this powerful gadget. Alien warlord Vilgax also seeks to wield its power to rule the universe. With his newfound superpowers, Ben has to learn the responsibilities of being a hero. Throughout the series, the Tennysons are attacked by various enemies such as Kevin 11, the evil sorcerer Hex, the mad scientist Dr. Anemo, the Phantom Ziskare, and the Forever Knights. So without any further ado, let's begin
Looks like it's hero time!
Season 1. The story begins in outer space where a clash between two spaceships unfolds with Vilgax, captain of the larger vessel, determined to seize cargo from the smaller ship. On Earth, 10-year-old Ben Tennyson's mischievous antics in school lead to a failed attempt at heroism against bullies Cash and JT. Ben's summer plans take a turn when his cousin Gwen joins his grandfather Max's RV road trip. The tension between Ben and Gwen escalates as they embark on a culinary adventure at their first stop, a campsite. Meanwhile, the space battle intensifies, resulting in Vilgax's ship destroying the smaller vessel, which jettisons a pod towards Earth. Alone in the woods, Ben narrowly avoids being crushed by a crashing pod, discovering inside a mysterious device, the Omnitrix, which bonds to his wrist. Experimenting with it, he transforms into Heat Blast, a fiery being, and inadvertently sets the forest ablaze. Gwen and Max rush to his aid, discovering his newfound abilities. To contain the fire, Max ingeniously uses controlled burning, extinguishing both blazes. Despite the devastation, they manage to prevent further destruction, leaving the forest scorched but safe. Severely injured, Vilgax plots to retrieve the Omnitrix from Earth, dispatching his mechadroid. Meanwhile, Ben, back to his human form, disobeys Max and activates the Omnitrix again, transforming into Wildman. Gwen and Max rescue him from drones sent by Vilgax's mechadroid. Returning to the RV, Max decides to help Ben master the Omnitrix powers. When a distress call comes in about the mechadroid attacking, Ben realizes he can use the Omnitrix to become a hero. Before arriving at the scene, Ben transforms into Diamond Head with Max's approval. Diamond Head confronts the mechadroid. Max and Gwen evacuate the civilians while Diamond Head deals with the threat, using his crystalline body to reflect its attacks and ultimately defeating it. After the battle, they discreetly leave the scene. In space, Vilgax vows vengeance for the failed mission. The next day, Ben returns as XLR-8, explaining he had an errand to run. Meanwhile, Cash and JT find themselves in a sticky situation, hung up on a tree, clueless about what happened. Heat Blast heroically rescues a woman and her son from a burning building in DC, but gets distracted by the boys' rare Sumo Slammer card. Meanwhile, Max and Gwen arrive in the Rust Bucket and Heat Blast joins them in chasing down jewelry store robbers. After stopping the criminals, Ben's forced back into his normal form by the Omnitrix, leaving him frustrated when he's not believed as the hero. Elsewhere, Dr. Anemo, a scientist working on genetic mutations, faces eviction from his apartment until he demonstrates his transmodulator's power on a frog, turning it into a giant. Seeing a commercial for Mega Mart, he's intrigued. At Mega Mart, Ben's quest for the gold Sumo Slammer card as gray matter causes chaos, forcing Gwen to take the blame. Meanwhile, Dr. Anemo, with his mutant frog, wreaks havoc, mutating animals and stealing electronics. Ben, unable to use the Omnitrix, confronts Anemo, who threatens to turn DC into Washington, B.C. After a chaotic showdown, Ben learns from Max that heroism is his own reward. Following Anemo's trail to the Natural History Museum, they face his revived mammoth and T-Rex. Despite Ben's efforts as four arms, Anemo escapes with Gwen, leaving Ben feeling defeated. Ben and Max track down Gwen using a clue dropped by Anemo. Discovering Anemo's target is Dr. Kelly, the award recipient. Stinkfly rescues Gwen from the mutant parrot atop the Washington Monument and battles it with Max's help. Max directs Stinkfly to stop Anemo at Kelly Industries, where Stinkfly saves Dr. Kelly from the rampaging T-Rex. In a tough decision, Stinkfly chooses to save Kelly over retrieving the gold Sumo Slammer's card. He defeats Anemo, destroys the transmodulator, and restores all mutated creatures to normal. Reflecting on Anemo's obsession, Ben realizes the true value of heroism. As Anemo is taken away by the police, Ben keeps the transmodulator as a reminder, acknowledging that saving the city is its own reward. Gwen thanks Ben, and they share a playful exchange before driving off. The Kraken episode kicks off with Ben pulling a prank on Gwen while swimming at night, only to be dragged under by a real lake monster. Back at the Rust Bucket, Ben's story is dismissed by Gwen and Max. The next day, they go fishing with Captain Shaw, who reveals he's been hunting the monster, Kraken, for years. Despite skepticism, they head to a restricted area. Encountering Jonah Melville, a marine biologist, tensions rise. When Shaw's sonar detects something, they race back to shore where Gwen is in danger. As the Kraken attacks, Ben tries to transform into Ripjaws but ends up as XLR-8. Using his speed, he rescues Gwen and others from the water. The creature targets Jonah's boat, aiming for a marked crate. XLR-8 intervenes, but Jonah's crew conceals the crate's contents. The Kraken steals the crate and XLR-8 times out, forcing Max to rescue Ben. Later, Ben wants to help Shaw, but Max insists they leave. Undeterred, Ben sneaks onto Shaw's boat. They find a nest of eggs underwater, but are ambushed by Jonah's men. Knocking out Shaw, Jonah reveals his true intentions before destroying Shaw's boat. As the Omnitrix recharges, Ben transforms into Stinkfly to confront Jonah. Despite disabling Jonah's weapons, Stinkfly is incapacitated by a depth charge. Jonah is forced to abandon Shaw's body to escape the Kraken. Stinkfly rescues Shaw and returns to the Rust Bucket. Inside, Ben reveals the truth behind the Kraken attacks. She's protecting her eggs from Jonah, who runs an illegal poaching operation. Gwen uncovers Jonah's criminal activities and calls the police. Ben, Gwen, and Max head to Jonah's cannery hideout to retrieve the eggs. Ben transforms into Ripjaws to confront Jonah underwater. They're interrupted by the Kraken, who joins the fight. With Gwen and Max at help, they defeat Jonah and return the eggs to the Kraken's nest. Jonah is arrested and Shaw discovers Ben's secret, mistaking him for one of the Kraken's offspring. The episode ends with the Kraken peacefully cradling her eggs. Stopping for gas and ice cream in the desert, Ben foils an ATM robbery as upgrade. Their next stop at Great Aunt Vera's retirement village dampens his mood. On arrival, Ben notices strange occurrences like an old man back-flipping off a roof and Marty's bizarre behavior. Inside Vera's house, Ben is put off by the unusual food and hides in the bathroom, using Coast Freak to explore the village. He encounters odd scenes, including an elderly woman clinging to her ceiling and Marty disposing of a rolled-up carpet in the dump. As Ghost Freak, Ben investigates Marty's suspicious activities, but reverts to Ben at an inopportune moment, prompting a confrontation. Marty attacks, but Ben escapes on a golf cart until the sprinkler scare frightens Marty away. Back at Vera's, Ben convinces Max and Gwen to investigate Marty's house. They find it deserted except for a missing rug. Strange occurrences continue as Vera exhibits odd behavior, leading Ben to suspect something sinister. Venturing out again, Ben and Gwen encounter hostile residents and eventually it transforms Max, confirming their suspicions. They're pursued by the creatures, with Max seemingly crushed by performing from slime, revealing her true nature. Ben and Gwen reach the dump where Wildman helps Gwen open the trapdoor while fending off the pursuing elders. They descend into a series of underground tunnels, trying to evade their attackers. The Max imposter catches up and Wildman hesitates in the fight until Gwen reminds him of their bond. With renewed determination, Wildman defeats the creature. Sensing something, he charges through a wall before reverting to Ben, much to Gwen's frustration. Ben claims he picked up a scent, prompting them to continue their exploration. Ben and Gwen discover an alien ship with pods containing the real residents, including Max and Aunt Vera. They're confronted by the Limax, who reveal their true forms. Inside the ship, they find more pods, including Aunt Vera's. Heat blasts, fire attacks are ineffective against the Limax, who merge into a giant entity. They bud smaller Limax to stop Gwen and Max, but Gwen's waterbend terrifies them. Heat blast breaks a water pipe, dissolving the Limax and forcing them to flee. The Tennysons watch as the spaceship leaves Earth. The next day, they bid farewell to Vera, with Ben admitting he had fun. As they leave, a lone Limax remains in the crater. In space, Vilgax hires bounty hunters 66, Krob, and Tetrax to retrieve the Omnitrix. On Earth, Max sets up an obstacle course for Ben, who transforms into Diamond Head. Despite his success, Diamond Head accidentally injures Gwen with diamond shards. Gwen and Max warn Ben to be more careful, but he brushes off their concerns. The bounty hunters track the Omnitrix to the obstacle course. Stranded in Slaterville due to a fuel line puncture, the Tennysons explore the town. Ben and Gwen encounter Krob in a warehouse where he demands the Omnitrix. Coast Freak tries to fight back but is immobilized by Krob's solidifying agent. Using their wits, Gwen and Coast Freak trap Krob and escape. On the road, they are attacked by 66, leading to a confrontation in a mine. Despite Ben's attempts to fight, he is overpowered by the bounty hunters. ToonRecapz intervenes, criticizing Ben's approach to using the Omnitrix and emphasizing its importance in a larger battle between good and evil. ToonRecapz and Ben escape to a nearby house where ToonRecapz advises Ben to stay hidden while he retrieves his hoverboard. Ben is torn, wanting to save his family, but realizing he'd be quickly captured if he tried. ToonRecapz manages to retrieve his hoverboard and shoots 6-6, causing him to drop Max and Gwen, before fleeing with Ben. As gray matter, Ben outsmarts Krob, finding and exploiting a weak point in his armor. Then, outside, gray matter sabotages 6-6's jetpack, causing him to crash into Krob, resulting in both of them being incapacitated by a falling water tower. ToonRecapz praises Ben's strategic thinking and contains the defeated bounty hunters and shrinking cube. He then assures Ben that the Omnitrix is in good hands before departing, leaving Ben with his hoverboard as a parting gift. After ToonRecapz leaves, Gwen gets back at Ben by covering his head in sunscreen. Meanwhile, Vilgax observes ToonRecapz's departure from his ship, determined not to be denied the Omnitrix, recognizing that its possessor must be both clever and formidable. At a carnival, Ripjaws foils a robbery, chasing the thieves. Meanwhile, the Tennysons spot a circus ad and decide to go. Ben is reluctant, but they attend. Hindered by his fear of clowns, Ben's unease grows as they watch the show. At the circus, Ben encounters the bizarre performers, Thumbskull, Frightwig, and Acid Breath. He stumbles upon Zombozo rehearsing, which unnerves him. Gwen notices Ben's discomfort and questions him, but he denies any fear. During Zombozo's act, Ben flees the tent, feeling relieved until he witnesses the circus freaks committing a robbery. During a robbery at the circus, Ben transforms into Wildmutt to confront the circus freaks. He engages them in battle, but when Zombozo appears, Wildmutt cowers, allowing himself to be defeated. The freaks attack Wildmutt, causing a metal tower to collapse on him. Believing him dead, they leave. Ben wakes up to find himself alone, with Gwen and others kidnapped by Zombozo and the freaks. As Max and Ben pursue Zombozo and the kidnapped victims in the rust bucket, Ben realizes Zombozo's true plan: to use the circus as a distraction while his henchmen rob and hypnotize the audience. Ben's fear of clowns resurfaces, but Max reassures him. However, Max suddenly falls unconscious, leaving Ben to steer the rust bucket. Max later reveals Zombozo's sinister motive: to feed on people's joy, leaving them empty. That's when Ben realizes just the kind of trouble they're both in if he has Gwen as a hostage. Ben infiltrates the circus's upgrade, using a baseball launcher to subdue the circus freaks. He then ventures into a house of mirrors to confront Zombozo. However, his Omnitrix times out, leaving him powerless. Despite this setback, Ben braces himself to face Zombozo without his alien abilities. In a harrowing confrontation with Zombozo, Ben faces a barrage of terrifying illusions in the Hall of Mirrors. Ultimately, he stands before Zombozo, who unveils his diabolical scheme to drain joy from entire cities using the Cyclone Machine. Seeing Gwen held captive and weakened, Ben transforms into Ghost Freak, determined to stop Zombozo's reign of terror. In a courageous showdown, Ghost Freak confronts Zombozo, driven by the fear of losing his family. He pummels Zombozo, ultimately defeating him by revealing his terrifying true form. As Zombozo begs for mercy, Ghost Freak makes him explode into confetti, ending his reign of terror. With joy restored, Gwen wakes up, and they leave as the police arrive at the circus. Ben conquers his fear of clowns, surprising Gwen, who wanted to prank him. The Tennysons stay at a posh NYC hotel, but Ben sneaks off to play Sumo Slammer. Caught as Ghost Freak, they're all kicked out. Ben and Max argue about the Omnitrix's use.
No more Sumo Slammer stuff for 2 weeks. No comics, no trading cards, no...
Fair! You can't always tell me what to do. You're not my dad.
Ben loses at an arcade where he meets Kevin, impressed by his ability to glitch games. They bond over mischief. Ben defends Kevin as XLR8 from bullies. Gwen criticizes Ben's recklessness. Kevin invites Ben to explore, and Ben, ignoring Gwen's warning, agrees, leaving her behind. As Ben and Kevin explore the city, Kevin reveals his unique ability to manipulate energy, which he was born with. They arrive at Kevin's home, an abandoned subway station, where Kevin shares his backstory of being abandoned by his family due to his powers. Intrigued by Ben's stories of sneaking into places, Kevin proposes breaking into a warehouse to play the Sumo Slammers game early. Using Kevin's powers to break in, they trigger a silent alarm, prompting a SWAT team to surround them. Ben reveals his secret and transforms into Stinkfly to escape, and they elude capture by flying around landmarks and hiding in a tunnel. After evading the authorities, Ben explains the Omnitrix to Kevin, who suggests they become partners. Ben agrees, cementing their alliance. As Max frantically searches for Ben, Kevin takes him to a subway track where he plans to cause a collision between two trains to steal money. Ben refuses, leading to a confrontation where Kevin tries to absorb Heat Blast's powers but becomes half Pyronite. They fight as the trains approach. Heat Blast melts the tracks to prevent the collision and disappears, leaving Kevin vengeful. Max and Gwen hear about subway fires and rush to the scene. Ben, now transformed back, struggles to stay atop the train until the rust bucket arrives. Inside, Ben convinces Max to intervene before Kevin causes more harm. Ben tracks down Kevin to the teenager's hideout where he's torching it, trapping the teens inside. Kevin gloats but suddenly loses his powers as Ben, now 4 Arms, confronts him. Kevin tries to kill the trapped teens, but 4 Arms stops him and absorbs his powers. With newfound strength, Kevin fights 4 Arms, but Ben's power times out, and he reverts back. Kevin apologizes and considers joining them, but he tries to take the Omnitrix by force, triggering a defensive reaction that reverts him. The next morning, as they leave, Ben apologizes, but Max remains cautious while Kevin discovers some of his alien powers still remain. The Tennysons hit the road with Ben winning a gross face-making contest by turning into Stink Fly. They stop to save a truck driver from a flaming truck. Continuing to Sparksville, they find it full of oversized objects. Ben and Gwen are impressed until they find it, a giant rubber band ball. Ben accidentally charges it with electricity from the Omnitrix, releasing a mischievous creature causing havoc. Max wakes Ben and Gwen to witness the town's worsened state, but they deny their involvement. Earl reveals the creature's name, Megawatt, an electricity-eating prankster alien. Megawatt's antics escalate and Earl pushes the responsibility onto the Tennysons. Ben attempts to stop it as Upgrade, but inadvertently multiplies the problem by splitting Megawatt into 2. Max uses the world's largest thermometer as a lightning rod to ground the Megawatts, but they return via phone lines. They hijack a planetarium exhibit to head towards a hydroelectric dam. Ben and Gwen devise a plan using the world's largest fishbowl exhibit. Ben, as Heat Blast, battles the Megawatt-controlled mech, eventually trapping them in the fishbowl and sealing it shut with fire. Earl expresses gratitude, revealing the Megawatts are powering the world's biggest light bulb. He assures no delays, emphasizing the importance of obeying signs. As they head back to the RV, Ben mentions he's had his fill of pranks. When he opens the door, a bucket of water falls on his head, and Max admits that funny is funny, especially when it's not on him. He and Gwen have a laugh at Ben. Vilgax deploys advanced mechadroids to retrieve the Omnitrix. Meanwhile, Ben accidentally causes trouble at a gas station before encountering Roto's gang during a robbery. When Ben hesitates to fight the all-female gang, Roto attacks, prompting Gwen to intervene. Just as things escalate, Vilgax's drones appear, adding another layer of chaos. Roto's gang flees as she targets Max, causing significant damage. Enraged, 4 Arms defeats Vilgax's drones by tossing them onto Rojo and rushes Max and Gwen to the hospital. Meanwhile, Rojo awakens and merges with the damaged drone, transforming into a formidable cyborg. She embraces her newfound power and begins a dangerous crime spree, easily overpowering the police. At the hospital, the doctor assures the Tennysons that Max will recover with rest. In space, Vilgax manipulates Rojo into continuing the mission to retrieve the Omnitrix. Meanwhile, Ben frets over Max's condition, teased by Gwen about his defeat by Roto's gang. Ben grapples with his superhero code, but ultimately leaves to brainstorm ways to use his aliens to aid Max's recovery. Ben's first idea to use Upgrade to accelerate Max's healing process is dismissed by Gwen. He then considers merging with Max's Ghost Freak, but accidentally activates the Omnitrix, alerting Rojo to their location. Rojo attacks them in the hospital, leading to a chase through the hallways. They realize Rojo has merged with Vilgax's drones. Ben leads Rojo outside, where he attempts to stop a rock slide using Heat Blast. Unable to melt the rocks directly, he improvises by melding ambulances into a barrier, saving the hospital. Heat Blast diverts the rock slide away from the hospital, saving the construction workers. Ben then blasts Rojo away, ensuring the rocks fall harmlessly into the water. Concerned for Max's safety, the Tennysons relocate him to a new room. Ben, fearing for his family's safety, decides to leave them to protect them from Rojo. As Gwen and Max sleep, Ben leaves a note and prepares to face Rojo alone. Meanwhile, Gwen wakes up, reads the note, and rushes to help when she hears about the police academy attack. She sneaks into an ambulance bound for the academy. Rojo continues her assault until XLR-8 arrives to confront her. XLR-8 confronts Rojo at the police academy, but they're interrupted by a tank. XLR-8 escapes and rescues Gwen from Rojo's grasp. They flee to an alley but are pursued by Rojo. Gwen confronts Ben for trying to leave, but he defends his decision. Max calls and suggests infiltrating Rojo's tech to stop her. Ben transforms into Upgrade and lures Rojo to a gym. Upgrade merges with Rojo but unexpectedly connects with Vilgax, who speaks to him briefly. Whoever he is, be afraid. He cannot run, cannot hide from Vilgax. Vilgax will find him and destroy him. Upgrade is expelled from Rojo and fights her using the gym equipment. Upgrade disables Roto's cybernetics, reverting her to normal. Despite her plea, Gwen apprehends her when she tries to grab a weapon. Upgrade hands Roto over to the authorities, and the Tennysons leave the hospital the next day. On their way to the rust bucket, Ben shares his encounter with Vilgax's message, leaving Max thoughtful. Max reassures them, emphasizing their unity. As they depart, Max lingers outside, contemplating Vilgax's warning, while Vilgax waits in his ship, poised for his next move. At a witchcraft museum, Ben explores a tribal mask while Gwen and Max listen to a tour guide describe the powerful Archimata Book of Spells. Gwen impressively repeats the guide's words, earning praise. Suddenly, Layla's intrigued and asks about her secret, prompting Gwen to explain the charm's influence. Suddenly, they hear of a construction site accident. Ben, as Wilmot, rushes to help but is surprised to find Gwen, now calling herself Lucky Girl, already assisting. Using the charm's luck, Lucky Girl orchestrates a series of fortunate events to rescue. Ben is eager to explore its powers further, leading to potential conflicts of interest. Tensions rise between Ben and Gwen as they debate the role of their powers in their heroics. Meanwhile, Four Arms confronts Hex and battles against animated stone statues brought to life by Hex's dark magic. Lucky Girl, realizing that luck has its limits, decides to take matters into her own hands and knocks Hex unconscious with well-aimed rocks. With Hex defeated, Lucky Girl destroys but Gwen playfully teases Ben about his reluctance to acknowledge her success.
Gwen, you did a good job. Never saying it again.
You don't have to.
Gwen, you did a good job.
Ben and Gwen race to a water park slide, but Ben, deemed too short, tries to use the Omnitrix to cheat. Transformed into gray matter, he evades chaos caused by his prank on the attendant. Meanwhile, a man obsessed with alien lore captures gray matter, unaware he's Ben. As Max and Gwen search, they realize Ben should have reverted, hinting at Omnitrix malfunctions. Trapped, gray matter faces the man's interrogation, unable to reveal his true identity. Gray matter then scurries into an air vent, narrowly escaping Howell's grasp. Meanwhile, Max and Gwen receive gray matter's call and rush to Ripley, where gray matter is trapped. As they arrive, they find the place on lockdown. Inside, gray matter evades Howell's pursuit, using his intellect to outsmart the captor at every turn. With Howell closing in, gray matter must rely on his wits to find a way out and reunite with his family before it's too late. As Howell's house remains on lockdown, gray matter faces a series of challenges, from evading Howell's broom attacks to enduring a ride through the vent system and a splash into the toilet. Meanwhile, Gwen and Max struggle in their search, encountering obstacles like sprinklers and spiders. They regroup at the RV, deciding to use it for a more efficient search. Inside Howell's house, gray matter outsmarts Howell by cutting the power, leading to a tense pursuit in the dark. Eventually, gray matter finds a way out through the chimney, only to be caught by Howell and confined in a container by the organization's henchmen. As Gwen and Max investigate Howell's garage, they uncover clues that could lead them to gray matter's whereabouts. As Gwen and Max race to rescue Ben, they encounter obstacles like Howell's guard dog and the organization's henchmen. Meanwhile, Howell delivers gray matter to Enoch, who plans to subject him to scientific experimentation. Gwen and Max infiltrate the organization's castle, discovering its secrets and the extent of its alien technology collection. Gray matter devises a plan to destroy the organization's operation, prompting a chaotic showdown with Enoch and his forces. In the aftermath, Ben, Gwen, and Max narrowly escape as the castle collapses. Howell, unaware of Ben's transformation, is left puzzled, while Enoch intensifies his pursuit of the trio, determined to unravel their secrets. As Ben's malfunctioning Omnitrix sparks concern, Enoch monitors their every move, plotting his next move against them. Clancy, a mysterious man, confronts construction workers demolishing an abandoned building, showing his ability to control insects. Meanwhile, Max and Gwen chase a robber in the rust bucket. Upgrade, controlled by Ben, intercepts the robber's car, causing a crash. Ben hides in an ice cream truck, catching a summer cold. Max takes him to Chinatown for a traditional remedy, Sanjuyan Peen, despite Ben's aversion to its smell. During a parade in Chinatown, Councilwoman Liang is attacked by wasps controlled by Clancy, who kidnaps her. Ben, as Wilmot, attempts to rescue her but struggles due to his cold-clogged sensory gills. One's attempt to guide him ends disastrously, leading to a near explosion with live fireworks. Max saves Gwen, realizing Ben's cold affects his alien forms. Back in the RV, Ben reluctantly takes the cold remedy. Gwen locates Clancy's apartment, while Ben secretly stashes the remedy. In Clancy's apartment, he reveals his connection to the building and his belief that its inhabitants are his family. The Tennysons confront Clancy in his bug-infested lair, where Four Arms accidentally saves Councilwoman Liang by sneezing on her, washing away the spiders. Clancy retaliates with swarms of bugs, causing chaos. Four Arms' efforts to fight off the bugs inadvertently lead to the building's collapse. As Clancy vows revenge and disappears, the Tennysons realize he might target the nuclear power plant. Arriving there, they find Clancy trying to cause a nuclear meltdown. Ben, as Heat Blast, faces off against Clancy, but his sickness weakens his powers. Max and Gwen race to shut down the reactor, while Ben struggles against Clancy's bugs. With time running out, Gwen uses a fire hose to defeat the Hornet Swarm, allowing Max to shut down the reactor and prevent disaster. In a dramatic showdown, Ben, now wielding cryokinesis due to his cold, battles Clancy as Max and Gwen rush to prevent a nuclear meltdown. Despite the overheated manual override, Ben freezes Clancy in a block of ice and saves the day by encasing the reactor core, averting disaster. As the Tennysons celebrate, Clancy, thawed out and seeking revenge, attacks them in the RV. Gwen's quick thinking, with Ben's cold remedy, lures away the bugs, leaving Clancy vulnerable to defeat. With Clancy defeated, the Tennysons emerge victorious, albeit with Gwen now sick. Ben reflects on the successful outcome as they prepare to leave, relieved that his cold played a crucial role in their victory. Dax observes with displeasure from his ship, the Chimeran Hammer. He's determined to obtain the Omnitrix for his own purposes. Despite his lieutenant's suggestion to send more mechadroids, Vilgax. In the rust bucket, Ben wakes from a nightmare about a mysterious alien and his own transformation. Max's unusual urgency to hit the road surprises Gwen. He engages the mechadroids, quickly realizing they were expecting him. Despite initially prevailing against them, Heat Blast is ensnared by an electrical net as the Red Mace approaches. Ben's encounter with Vilgax escalates as heat. In the ensuing battle with mechadroids, Ben showcases his versatility by transforming into Ghost Freak, Gray Matter, and Upgrade, ultimately helping to defeat them. However, Vilgax regains control and attacks Max, nearly throwing him off the ship. Ben acknowledges the need for a serious conversation with Max as they watch the remnants of the Chimeran Hammer fall from the sky.
Grandpa, we need to talk.
Season 2. The situation at the Nuclear Missile Control Center becomes increasingly dire as the missiles are inexplicably diminutive size. The alien proves to be engaging in a water-based battle. As sightings of a giant talking fish, highlighting the absurdity of the situation. The chaos continues as shelving topples over, trapping the man while Ripjaws manages to catch the alien creature. With the battle concluded, Ripjaws reverts back into Ben. He urgently requests assistance, stating that there are Vulpamancers causing havoc at the meat processing plant. His nefarious activities. Phil confesses to his plan of capturing and selling aliens for profit. He releases a dangerous wig. However, XLR-8 intervenes, thwarting the attack. At Yellowstone National Park, Max and Gwen enjoy the setting, while Ben remains discontent. Ben attempts to transform into XLR-8 for a burger, but the Omnitrix surprises him by turning him into Cannonbolt instead. Cannonbolt struggles with his new form's clumsiness. As he contemplates his abilities, a meteor crashes nearby, catching his attention. Despite his struggles with balance, Cannonbolt's body instinctively encases itself in a protective shell, allowing him to roll towards the crash site. At the crash site, the meteor reveals a large tick-like alien. 3 other aliens arrive on a ship, worshipping the tick as the Great One here to destroy Earth. They identify Cannonbolt as an Arburian Pelorota, whose planet was destroyed a week ago. The Great One begins devouring the planet, prompting Cannonbolt to attack, but he's knocked away. Max and Gwen pursue him into the forest, where he reverts to Ben. The Great One poisons Yellowstone, turning it into a wasteland with attacking tentacles. Ben becomes Stinkflay and rescues Max and Gwen, flying them away from the danger. As Stinkflay flies over Yellowstone, they notice Old Faithful resembling a giant, ready-to-burst zit. The Yellow Worshipper boasts about the Great One's power, represented by the geyser. Stinkflay confronts the Worshippers, initially holding his own but accidentally reverts to Ben mid-flight. Ben knocks the Yellow Worshipper off his platform and commandeers it, leading the others into crashing into Old Faithful. Despite Ben's attempts with various alien forms, none harm the Great One. The Worshippers return and trap them, preparing for the planet's purification. The Tennysons reluctantly comply when ordered to clean the Great One, playing along for now. As they clean the Great One, it sheds its exterior to reveal a yellow shell with purple pores spitting acid. Falling shell pieces endanger the trio. With time running out, Gwen urges Ben to use Cannonbolt despite his doubts. Reluctantly, Ben transforms into Cannonbolt. The Worshippers attack. Their shots inadvertently hit the Great One's shell, prompting Max to use the shell pieces as shields. While effective, they are eventually trapped in an acid pit. Cannonbolt rescues them, using his shell to deflect attacks and incapacitate the Worshippers. They emerge victorious, with Cannonbolt's newfound confidence proving invaluable. With the worshippers defeated, Cannonbolt targets the Great One, penetrating its interior through its pores. Inside, he wreaks havoc, destroying its organs and triggering a collapse amidst gravitational wave. The monster sheds its shell and explodes, leaving behind only blue goop. The worshippers, now without a deity, turn to Cannonbolt for guidance. Ben and Gwen remark on their fickle loyalty, while Cannonbolt humorously considers the idea of being worshipped. As Ben reverts to his human form, the worshippers decide against placing their faith in him and depart. Soon after, the planet heals, returning to its original state. Ben looks forward to enjoying the outdoors, but his plans are thwarted when he's tasked with cleaning the RV covered in the Great One's slime by Max. The Tennysons wait in line for Sumo Slammers 2.1. After leaving the bookstore, they encounter four arms causing chaos. Gwen blames Ben, but he denies involvement. Max supports Ben, but Gwen shows footage of four arms rampage. Ben insists he's innocent and decides to investigate. Ben spots four arms and pursues him, but he can't transform into XLR8. Eventually, Ben finds four arms at the US Mint, where he's causing havoc. Inside, Gwen and Max encounter Heat Blast, whom they believe to be Ben. However, the real Ben appears, revealing that the alien impersonating him is Heat Blast. Heat Blast, revealed to be Kevin Levin, explains that he absorbed Omnitrix energy, granting him access to Ben's alien forms. Kevin plans to tarnish Ben's hero image by committing crimes in his name, leaving Ben to take the blame. Kevin, now transformed into Stinkfleet, flees the scene, leaving Diamond Head to deal with the SACT. Despite Diamond Head's protests of innocence, the SACT remains skeptical until Gwen intervenes. Diamond Head then engages in combat, but soon finds himself surrounded. With the Omnitrix timing out, Diamond Head reverts back to Ben just as the SACT closes in. Ben pretends to defend himself from Diamond Head, fooling the SACT. Back in the RV, the Tennysons discuss the situation, learning from newspaper headlines that Kevin has been causing chaos across various cities using Ben's alien forms. As the trolley train hurtles down the street under Upgrade's control, Ben transforms into Wilma to intervene. Despite SACT's presence, Wilma climbs onto the car and confronts Upgrade. Max, in the transformed RV, aids the rescue. Upgrade, now as Stinkfleet, attempts to escape, but the car heads towards a pier. Max throws a grappling hook, stabilizing the car with Wilma's help just before it plunges into the water. Later, in a parking lot, the Tennysons are confronted by the SACT. Despite Lieutenant Steele's suspicions about the Omnitrix, they are allowed to leave after a report of a crystal alien, Kevin as Diamond Head, on the loose. Steele warns that he's not finished with them. Steele confronts Diamond Head on the bridge, but is overpowered. Four Arms arrives just in time to intervene, prompting a showdown. Gwen warns against using the concussion bazooka, fearing it might harm Four Arms. Diamond Head briefly gains the upper hand after transforming into Heat Blast, but Four Arms manages to knock him away. Diamond Head shifts into Stinkfleet, and then reverts to Kevin. Four Arms refuses to engage in further combat, acknowledging Kevin's unworthiness. Kevin's anger causes him to mutate into Kevin 11, a chaotic fusion of Omnitrix aliens. After a fierce battle, Steele orders his men to shoot Kevin 11, ultimately subduing him. As the Tennysons depart, Steele questions the sudden alien appearances but lets them go. In the ocean below, Bubbles suggests Kevin 11's survival, hinting at future confrontations. The Grudge Match episode opens in a wind farm with Max and Gwen inside the overturned rust bucket, while Diamond Head battles Kevin. Kevin blinds Diamond Head with Stinkfly's slime, causing Diamond Head to retaliate by throwing wind turbine blades. They are suddenly enveloped in a red beam and transported to an alien fighting arena. Each is confronted by a droid opponent. Diamond Head defeats his adversary, impressing the spectators, but reverts to Ben when the Omnitrix times out. Ben skillfully dispatches the droid, surprising the audience. A holographic figure reveals plans to exploit them for staged battles. As the wall separating Ben and Kevin opens, Kevin blames Ben, but they are teleported again before a confrontation ensues. Kevin and Ben's altercation is interrupted by hovering robot guards equipped with stun lances, who then implant devices on them. They find themselves on a spaceship with other captive aliens. Ben suggests finding a way back to Earth, but an alien dismisses the idea, claiming they're trapped. When Kevin grabs Ben, the implanted devices shock Kevin, separating them. An alarm signals mealtime, and the aliens reluctantly eat a purple substance to appease Technor, a menacing figure. Kevin, still angry, provokes Technor by throwing food at him and blames Ben. Technor retaliates, prompting Ben to transform into Four Arms and fight him. Meanwhile, the mysterious alien observer, Slicks Bigmunt, is intrigued by Four Arms. Slicks links Four Arms and Kevin with an electronic shackle, ensuring their fates are intertwined. They are then transported to an arena to battle Technorg. During the battle with Technorg, 4 arms and Kevin's initial separation leads to their downfall as Technorg exploits their linked connection. As Ben reverts back from 4 arms, Kevin attempts to eliminate him, forgetting their shared fate. Ben urges cooperation, but Kevin rejects the idea, opting to battle alone. Kevin's attacks prove ineffective until Ben suggests combining their strengths. They synchronize their abilities, delivering a decisive blow to Technorg. Despite Slick's command to finish Technorg, Ben intervenes, refusing to let Kevin succumb to darkness. Impressed aliens hail Ben and Kevin as champions, even Technorg, who offers Ben a gesture of respect. Ben rejects mastery over Technorg and seeks his help in escaping the ship. Technorg reveals their attempts to escape have failed, but Ben remains determined to find a way out, rallying the captives for a collective effort to break free from their captivity. Kevin and Ben orchestrate an escape plan, with Grey Matter disabling a robot guard to free the captives. Despite their link, Kevin and Grey Matter seek the escape controls. Slicks and drones intervene, capturing the prisoners. Kevin and Grey Matter fight back, but Grey Matter reverts to Ben. Witnessing the captives suffering, Ben and Kevin unite to rescue them and halt Technorg's fate. Ben transforms into Upgrade and merges with Slicks, gaining control of the ship. He severs the link with Kevin, rescues Technorg, and teleports the captives to safety. Outmaneuvering Slicks, they escape, ending his tyranny and saving their fellow captives. After successfully freeing the captives and thwarting Slicks' plans, Upgrade, now reverted back into Ben, faces a deadly encounter with Slicks. Kevin intervenes, intending to finish off Ben himself. As Kevin attacks, Ben desperately transforms into Cannonbolt, surprising Kevin with a new form. Cannonbolt defeats Kevin and escapes in a pod, aided by Technorg. On Earth, Ben reunites with Gwen and Max, but Kevin's fate remains unknown. Ben suggests Kevin found a new company, hinting at his defeat. As the Tennysons reflect on their adventure, they're grateful to be reunited and safe once more. A wormhole in space opens, revealing a ship attacked by another vessel. An alien, 66, seeks Element X and targets Earth for the next ingredient. Ben daydreams as Ultra Ben in a comic. Interrupted by Gwen, they witness Vulcanus demanding the Byzantium alloy. Ben transforms into 4 arms to confront him, but 66 arrives, triggering memories of past encounters. Despite 4 arms' efforts, 66 incapacitates him with an electric shock. As 66 prepares to attack, Ben's transformation options dwindle, leaving him vulnerable against the impending threat. 66 is thwarted by the Galactic Enforcers, consisting of Synaptac, Teeny, and Ultimos. Teeny's Sonic Blast incapacitates 66, while Synaptac uses telekinesis to neutralize Vulcanus. Ultimos deals the final blow. As they order surrender, 4 arms hesitates, but 66's flash capsule provides an opportunity for escape. The Galactic Enforcers prevent a disaster caused by 66's parting attack. Ben reverts to human form, confusing Teeny. The Enforcers are aware of the Omnitrix's existence and teleport Ben and his companions to discuss the situation further. On the ship, Ultimos briefs the Tennysons about 66 and Vulcanus' dangerous plot involving Element X and the Byzantium alloy. Observers are deployed to track them, while Ben is offered a tour, much to Gwen's frustration. Ultimos presents Ben with the Galactic Code of Conduct, astonishing him with its size. As they discover 66 and Vulcanus at a mine, Ultimos invites Ben to join the Galactic Enforcers despite Synaptac's reservations. Ultimately, Ultimos decides to enlist Ben, leaving Max and Gwen behind on the ship. Ben shares a moment with Ultimos, offering him a piece of chocolate before departing for the mission. In the midst of the confrontation, Synaptac takes charge after Ultimos' incapacitation due to the chocolate. Vulcanus attacks, but Synaptac holds him off, demanding their surrender. However, 66 and Vulcanus retaliate, leading to a chaotic battle. XLR-8, guided by Teeny's advice, engages 66, while Teeny confronts Vulcanus. Despite their efforts, Synaptac and Teeny are incapacitated, leaving XLR-8 cornered. Meanwhile, Max and Gwen teleport to Earth, narrowly escaping danger. XLR-8, outnumbered and outmaneuvered, faces a dire situation. As 66 initiates a rock slide to hinder their pursuit, Ben steps up, prompting Synaptac to intervene with a protective barrier. Despite losing sight of 66 and Vulcanus, they learn of a nearby facility crucial to their mission. With Ultimo's recovery, Ben urges for a change in strategy, determined to overcome the looming threat. In the heart of the Foundry, Vulcanus hunts for the purest iron to blend with Element X. The Galactic Enforcers arrive just in time, and Ben transforms into Cannonbolt to face 66. Meanwhile, Gwen disrupts the alloy mixture. Cannonbolt battles 66, but a blast sends him plummeting into molten metal. Synaptac rescues him with telekinesis, while Ultimos and Teeny confront Vulcanus. Despite Vulcanus' interference, the team wins, submerging 6-6 and Vulcanus in liquid metal. Impressed by Ben's innovative combat tactics, Ultimus offers him a position as a galactic enforcer, but Ben declines, preferring to stick with Max and Gwen. With their victory secured, they bid farewell to the galactic enforcers and return home. In a vivid nightmare, Ben transforms into Wildmutt to rescue a frightened child stuck in a tree, only to be confronted by a manifestation of Ghost Freak, terrifying him awake. Still shaken, Ben joins Gwen on a trip to Bancroft Academy, a prestigious school she hopes to attend. Ben's vibe for the school leads to tension as they encounter snobbish students and Ben's paranoia about Ghost Freak resurfaces. His erratic behavior triggers chaos in the science lab, drawing negative attention from Tiffany, their tour guide. Before things escalate further, the circus freak's intrusion interrupts the tour, shifting their focus to the school's security breach. As the circus freaks seek revenge on Ben, he transforms into Ghost Freak, but to his horror, he finds himself unable to control his viciousness. Max and Gwen witness the chaos, realizing something's off about Ghost Freak's behavior. Ghost Freak, now revealed as Ziscare, chases the circus freaks with malicious intent. When the Omnitrix times out, Ghost Freak persists, revealing his true consciousness and desire to possess Ben to control the Omnitrix. Ben discovers Ziscare's vulnerability to sunlight, prompting him to flee. Meanwhile, Ziscare takes possession of a Bancroft student, demonstrating his immunity to sunlight in a host body. Ben realizes he's facing a formidable enemy with newfound abilities and a thirst for revenge. As Gwen fluctuates on the brink of danger, Ben grapples with the weight of Ziscare's threat. With the sun gun in hand, Max looks to Ben for guidance. Ben hesitates, torn between the risk of Gwen's safety and the potential consequences of surrendering the weapon. With resolve, Ben takes a stand, refusing to yield to Ziscare's demands. As Ziscare's grip on Gwen tightens, Ben makes a split-second decision, aiming the sun gun at himself. The intense burst of light forces Ziscare out of Ben's body, freeing him from possession. As the standoff intensifies, Ben's quick thinking leads to a daring transformation into gray matter. Using his small size and agility, Gray Matter outmaneuvers the circus freaks and leads them on a chase through the building. Meanwhile, Max and Gwen face off against the remaining circus freaks, using their cleverness to defeat them one by one. In the clock tower, Gray Matter narrowly escapes Ziscare's grasp before reverting back to Ben. With cunning strategy, Ben exposes Ziscare to sunlight, ultimately defeating the malevolent entity. As the circus freaks are arrested, one reflects on her chances of getting into Bancroft Academy, but Ben reassures her of her intelligence and resourcefulness. Grateful for the support, Gwen embraces Ben, who laughs off his discomfort once she's out of earshot. In Texas, an earthquake uncovers a mysterious mask amidst a fiery tornado, piquing curiosity and setting the stage for a new adventure. Meanwhile, in the Rust Bucket, Ben, Gwen, and Max enjoy a meal until an alarm reveals the mask's discovery. Max explains its significance as the Mask of Apuch, linked to the powerful sword of Eek Chuach, capable of devastating destruction. Ben, excited, is cautioned by Max about the sword's danger, prompting a serious tone. They head to the site, where Max urges Ben to sneak in as Gray Matter. Gwen, understanding Max's concern for global safety, supports his approach. As Gray Matter, Ben climbs in, pondering the gravity of their mission. Inside the building, Gray Matter enters through a drain but encounters trouble when he faces attack dogs. Dodging them, he escapes back outside to Max and Gwen's impatience. They proceed through the basement, Gray Matter feeling the tension from Max's urgency. Upon reaching the vault, they find the Mask of Apuch, fulfilling Max's 40-year quest. However, their moment is interrupted by Enoch and his Forever Night cohorts, but a security guard's arrival momentarily halts the confrontation. Gray Matter temporarily blinds Enoch, allowing Max and Gwen to flee with the mask. But Gray Matter's escape is dangerous, nearly ending up in a paper shredder. As Enoch and his men chase after the mask, security tightens the building's lockdown. Eventually, Ben reunites with Max and Gwen, albeit landing in a dumpster. They hasten to catch Enoch before he claims the sword of Eek Chuach, urging Ben to hurry. Enoch, determined to reclaim the mask, faces off against Max and the Tennysons. As the RV approaches, Max activates its aerodynamics, intending to ram into Enoch's car. Meanwhile, Ben struggles to activate the Omnitrix due to Max's impatience with the situation. Max, now in his plumber suit, jumps out of the RV to confront Enoch's men and retrieve the mask. Despite Enoch's blade, Max manages to evade his attacks and seize the mask. Inside the RV, Ben and Gwen fend off Enoch's henchmen. With quick thinking, Gwen uses a fire extinguisher to dislodge one attacker from the RV. Another assailant attempts to board from above, but Gwen thwarts him, causing him to fall into the water below. Meanwhile, Max faces off against Enoch, using his magnetized pad to disarm him and reclaim the mask. As Enoch retaliates, Max activates the RV's rocket thrusters, narrowly avoiding a collision with an oncoming truck. To further disarm Enoch, Max deploys higher spikes, allowing the RV to escape, albeit with Enoch still in pursuit, ready for a counterattack. After the RV breaks down, Max's obsession with retrieving the mask of Puch becomes increasingly apparent to Gwen and Ben. Ben discovers the holographic map inside the mask, leading them to the Mayan temple of Ik-Chuach. Despite Max's urgency, Ben struggles to fly them quickly as Stinkfly due to his lack of experience carrying passengers. As they approach the temple, Ben reverts back to his human form and they plummet into the jungle. Enoch and his men are already at the site, attempting to breach the temple doors with dynamite. Max leads the group to find a secret entrance and Ben uses the mask to reveal a hidden switch. Inside, they encounter various traps, narrowly escaping a deep pit thanks to Max's quick thinking. As they progress deeper into the temple, Enoch captures them, intending to prevent Max from placing the mask in its socket. Max surrenders to ensure Ben and Gwen's safety, but Enoch throws them into the pit of despair. Ben transforms into 4 arms to save them, and they continue toward the shrine containing the sword of Ik-Chuach. Enoch's men struggle to control the guardian of the sword, Puch, giving the Tennysons an opportunity to reach it. However, Enoch intervenes using Gwen as a distraction. Max prioritizes saving Gwen over obtaining the sword, leading to Puch's defeat. Meanwhile, Enoch seizes the sword only to find it disintegrates in his hands. As the temple collapses, the Tennysons escape and Max, back to his old self, suggests piloting Enoch's helicopter to return home. They fly away, leaving behind the ruins of the temple and Enoch's greed. In the RV, Ben and Gwen argue over whose birthday to celebrate, with Gwen insisting on hers while Ben dismisses her invitation. Max, mediating, suggests they stick to tradition and celebrate both on the same day. While driving, Max almost hits a boy, distracted by their quarrel, but the boy falls off a cliff. Ben, attempting to transform into Stinkfly, becomes Cannonbolt and saves him. The boy, Gilbert, is from Camp Opinacon and has a strange fungus rash. Max decides to return him to camp. They find the camp deserted but warm, abandoned food on the table. Investigating, they meet twins Andy and Mandy hiding from a threat. Max plans to take them to town but discovers the RV covered in fungus, so they take shelter in a cabin. Inside, Ben learns the campers have been infected by fungus. Max prepares food while Ben, curious, pokes at the rash on Gilbert's arm. Max goes missing and Ben, as Wildmet, tracks him to a pit where they're ensnared by tentacles. Meanwhile, Gwen and the twins battle mushrooms above ground. Ben transforms into Wildvine and defeats the mycelium controlling the fungus. They return to the campgrounds where Ben and Max save the kids from mushroom attacks. Ben remembers Andy's comment about foot powder killing fungus, and they defeat the remaining spores. At the diner, Ben and Gwen reflect on their teamwork, symbolized by their mutual dislike for mushrooms on pizza. Despite their bickering, they find common ground in their shared experiences. In a daring prison break, Charmcaster frees her Uncle Hex using her magical powers and his staff. Meanwhile, Ben and Gwen bicker about attending a magic convention, where Gwen is drawn to a magical charm booth. Outside, Ben, as Stinkfly, and Gwen, now Lucky Girl, save a man dangling from a helicopter. Back at the convention, Gwen discovers the charm she bought is the lost keystone of Bezel, amplifying her powers. Hex and Charmcaster crash the convention, seeking the keystone. Hex threatens the audience with magic, but Lucky Girl intervenes. The battle ensues, with Hex and Charmcaster summoning rock monsters. Lucky Girl and Max are separated, pursued by monsters, while Hex and Charmcaster hunt them down. Charmcaster tricks Gwen into giving up the keystone, revealing her true allegiance to Hex. Hex begins a ritual to recreate the charms of Bezel, but Gwen, Ben, and Max intervene. They confront Hex atop a building, where Gwen and Max help Ben reach the highest point. Lucky Girl and Max disrupt Hex's ritual, and Charmcaster turns on her uncle, completing the spell herself. However, Gwen destroys the newly created charms, draining Charmcaster and Hex of their powers. As the adventure ends, Gwen realizes the keystone may have lost its power, but Ben reassures her that there are other ways to be a hero. Unbeknownst to them, the keystone still glows with power, hinting at further adventures to come. The Tennysons, accompanied by Max, embark on an underwater adventure at Donovan Grand Smith's luxurious resort built in the Bermuda Triangle. Upon arrival, they are met by Donovan and his less-than-enthusiastic grandson, Edwin. The tour takes a dangerous turn when robotic squid creatures attack the resort and the submarine the kids are in. Ben's attempts to transform into Ripjaws are unsuccessful, but he manages to divert the squid's attention long enough for the group to escape. However, they soon find themselves in a precarious situation as the resort begins to flood and the squids continue their relentless pursuit. Amidst the chaos, Edwin's true nature is revealed, and the group must rely on their wits and teamwork to survive. Ben eventually transforms into Stinkflight to help them navigate through the flooded resort. With Edwin's help, they reach the engine room and devise a plan to destroy the power source that attracts the squids. As the resort collapses around them, Ben, Gwen, and Edwin narrowly escape in an antique submarine, which Ben upgrades for their getaway. The explosion of the power source eradicates the squid threat, but also destroys the resort. Back on the surface, Max and Donovan welcome the children back safely, and Donovan, though saddened by the loss of his resort, is grateful for their survival. Edwin, now going by Eddie, forges a newfound bond with his grandfather and the Tennysons, thanks to Max's advice on family relationships. Despite the ordeal, Donovan remains optimistic, already planning his next venture, a resort on the moon. The Tennysons respectfully decline his invitation this time, but their adventure has strengthened their bond and left them with memories to last a lifetime. Ben's curiosity gets the best of him when he tinkers with the Omnitrix, causing it to malfunction and lose its faceplate. Despite Max and Gwen's warnings, Ben attempts to cover up his actions, but the consequences soon catch up with them when mutant creatures start appearing in the swamp. As they attend Gatorfest, chaos ensues when Dr. Anemo unleashes his mutant creations on the crowd, leading to a confrontation with Ben. Transforming into a new fusion alien, Heat Jaws, Ben faces off against Anemo's creatures, while Gwen tries to stop Anemo's plan to mutate the world using the Omnitrix's technology. In the final showdown, Gwen manages to reverse the mutation on Max using the Omnitrix faceplate, while Ben defeats Anemo and restores the Omnitrix to normal. With Anemo apprehended and the threat neutralized, Gwen hopes Ben has learned his lesson, but he remains determined to explore the Omnitrix's potential, leaving Gwen exasperated but amused by his antics as they drive away from the swamp. The arrival of the Mega Cruiser brings Kevin and Vilgax back into the picture, both seeking to capture Ben and obtain the Omnitrix. Meanwhile, Ben's experimentation with the Omnitrix leads to the discovery of its master control, granting him unprecedented access to his alien forms. As the Tennysons enjoy their day at Niagara Falls, Ben's newfound mastery over the Omnitrix leads to some unexpected transformations, including the ability to stay as an alien for extended periods. However, Max and Gwen remain wary of the potential consequences of this newfound power. When Kevin and Vilgax capture Ben, Gwen's quick thinking allows her to deceive them with a decoy Omnitrix, trapping the villains in the null void. Ben learns a valuable lesson about humility and gratitude, realizing the importance of Gwen's actions in saving him and the Omnitrix. With the Omnitrix back in his possession and his bond with Gwen strengthened, Ben sets his sights on new adventures while Kevin and Vilgax face the consequences of their greed and ambition in the unforgiving null void. Season 3, the Tennysons find themselves caught up in Sublimino's hypnotic schemes at Megamalopolis. Ben unwittingly becomes one of Sublimino's mind-controlled minions, leading to chaos and robberies at the mall. Gwen and Max must find a way to break Ben out of his trance and stop Sublimino's nefarious plans. Despite their efforts to keep Ben awake, Sublimino's hypnotic waves continue to exert their influence, causing Ben to sleepwalk and wreak havoc as Heat Blast. With the mall under Sublimino's control, Ben must find a way to break free and stop the hypnotist before his plans escalate further. Using his resourcefulness and alien powers, Ben manages to break free of Sublimino's control and confront the hypnotist. With Willvine's agility and strength, Ben destroys Sublimino's attempts to stop him and ultimately snaps everyone out of their trance, including Gwen and Max. As they hit the road once again, Ben keeps Sublimino's watch as a souvenir of their encounter. However, his attempt to hypnotize Gwen for some ice cream backfires, showing that the Tennysons are always ready to outsmart any villain, even with their own tricks. The Tennysons find themselves embroiled in a time travel adventure when a mysterious woman kidnaps Gwen, leading Ben to chase after her through a portal. They end up in a future world where Ben has become a legendary hero known as Ben 10,000. There they encounter future versions of themselves and face off against formidable foes like Dr. Anemo and Vilgax. In this future timeline, Ben 10,000 has fully mastered the Omnitrix, but still faces challenges that require assistance. The Tennysons must work together to thwart Dr. Anemo's plans to create monstrous minions using DNA samples from across the galaxy. Along the way, they encounter allies like Gwendolyn, Ben 10,000's skilled companion, and face off against powerful adversaries like Exoskull and Vilgax. Despite the challenges they face, the Tennysons ultimately emerge victorious, with Ben 10,000 and his allies defeating Dr. Anemo and Vilgax to save the day. As they celebrate Max's 60th birthday and bid farewell to their future counterparts, they realize the importance of family and teamwork in overcoming adversity.
Happy birthday, Grandpa!
Well, thanks. Having you all here is the best 80th birthday present I could ever have.
With a newfound appreciation for each other, they return to their own time, ready to face whatever challenges come their way. The Tennysons are in Salem, Massachusetts, where Gwen and Max are dressed as pilgrims, awaiting Ben's arrival. Ben grumbles about his outfit, but Max insists it's a chance to learn history. When an explosion occurs nearby, Ben transforms into Stinkflay to help, and Charmcaster appears, reveling her witch persona. Stinkflay extinguishes the fire, but Charmcaster targets him with magical grenades. She ensnares him in a bubble, but Gwen's attempt to calm a horse inadvertently squishes her with Charmcaster. Chaos ensues as Gwen, now in Charmcaster's body, tries to explain the situation. Charmcaster in Gwen's body sabotages their efforts and attacks Gwen. Mistaken for Charmcaster, Gwen is taken to Juvie, where she plots her escape. Meanwhile, Charmcaster, posing as Gwen, manipulates Ben and Max, seeking the Omnitrix. Gwen orchestrates a diversion to break out of Juvie, with help from fellow inmates Pinky and Missy. Together, they flee and confront Charmcaster, who tries to use a body-switching spell again, but only ends up back in her own body. After a showdown on a ship, the Tennysons defeat Charmcaster. Back in the RV, they reflect on the chaotic adventure, with Gwen keeping Charmcaster's spellbook as a memento. In Juvie, Charmcaster faces retribution from Pinky and Missy. The episode Merry Christmas begins with the Tennysons driving through Death Valley in the Rust Bucket on a scorching day. Ben, as Gray Matter, tries to fix the broken air conditioning, but it only makes things worse. They spot an abandoned holiday theme park in the distance and decide to investigate. Upon entering, they discover a winter wonderland village complete with Christmas decorations and festive activities. As Ben goes bobsledding and Gwen goes ice skating, Max is lured away by elves who mistake him for Santa Claus. He's brought to Mr. Jingles, the mayor of Holiday Village, who insists Max is Santa and tries to keep him there. Meanwhile, Ben and Gwen are attacked by Nutcracker soldiers firing candy canes. Ben accidentally transforms into XLR-8 instead of Heat Blast, but manages to fend off the soldiers with Gwen's help. They meet Elsgood, an elf who warns them about Mr. Jingles and the curse of the village. Elsgood leads them to Mr. Jingles' workshop, where they discover Max under his control. Ben transforms into Wildmutt and with Gwen and Elsgood infiltrates the workshop to destroy the Jingulator, the machine powering the curse. After a struggle with Mr. Jingles and his minions, Gray Matter manages to shut down the Jingulator, lifting the curse. Max reminds Mr. Jingles of the true meaning of Christmas, and Ben, as Stinkflea, flies around the world to deliver the gifts. Returning to Holiday Village, they find the curse lifted and families reunited. They bid farewell to Elsgood and continue their journey, still enduring the broken air conditioning in the Rust Bucket. Max is listening to the history of the Indian dream catcher, while Ben and Gwen explore the area. Ben seems particularly captivated by a young girl named Kai Green performing a native dance. Gwen notices Ben's interest and teases him about it. Max recognizes Kai as his granddaughter from when she was a toddler. Suddenly, the sky darkens and a beastly alien appears after a lightning strike. The gang seeks shelter from the storm, but Ben seems more interested in Kai than their safety. A flash flood hits and Kai gets swept away. Ben tries to transform into Ripjaws to save her but fails, so he jumps in himself and manages to grab her hand before they're carried into danger. They find themselves in peril as they approach a potentially deadly obstacle, but they manage to find safety just in time. Later, Wes, Max, and Ben set out to track down the alien creature, while Kai and Gwen search for a way to reverse Ben's transformation. The group faces various challenges and encounters with a werewolf-like alien, leading to Ben's eventual transformation into a werewolf himself. They learn that Ben's condition can only be reversed by stopping the creature that bit him. As the adventure unfolds, Ben struggles with his transformation while trying to maintain his humanity. Eventually, they confront the werewolf in a volcanic cave, where Ben uses his new werewolf form, Benwolf, to battle the creature and stop a lava flow threatening the village. In the end, they defeat the werewolf, but Benwolf's fate remains uncertain. Despite Ben's attempts to impress Kai, she reveals that she only admired him as Benwolf, hoping to tame him. This leaves Ben disappointed, but Gwen reassures him that there are plenty of other opportunities for romance. As the gang prepares to leave, a mysterious machine hidden in the cave activates, hinting at further adventures to come. The rainy day leads to boredom for Gwen, who persuades Ben to play Sumo Slammer's SmackDown with her. Gwen triumphs over Ben in the game, prompting Ben to retaliate by resetting her score using Upgrade's abilities after merging with the computer. However, a lightning strike on the Rust Bucket satellite dish unexpectedly transports both Ben and Gwen into the game. Inside the game, Gwen is displeased with their predicament, but Upgrade is thrilled. They are soon attacked by Robo-Sumos, prompting Upgrade to merge with one and defeat the others. However, Upgrade's time runs out, leaving Ben without access to his alien forms. They find themselves facing a giant robo-sumo, and after a series of attacks, they encounter the game's protagonist, Ishiyama, who mistakes Ben for the game's villain, Kenko. A battle ensues between Ishiyama and Ben, now transformed into 4 arms. Gwen joins the fray, impressing Ishiyama with her combat skills. Despite 4 arms' attempts to impress Ishiyama, he reverts back to Ben. Gwen and Ishiyama continue fighting while Ben searches for Upgrade's icon to progress to the next level. Amidst their battle, Ben discovers various Omnitrix tokens, one of which triggers a trap that injures Ishiyama. They encounter a statue with a riddle, and Gwen solves it, revealing a dojo that leads to level 13. In level 13, they confront Kenko, the game's antagonist. Ben manages to obtain the upgrade icon, but Kenko injures Ishiyama, revealing his true identity. Ben transforms into Upgrade and battles Kenko, ultimately defeating him with the help of Ishiyama. However, Max intervenes, revealing Ishiyama's true nature as Kenko. Upgrade merges with Kenko to destroy his armor, revealing a small creature inside. Upgrade restores Ishiyama to life before returning himself and Gwen to the real world. Back in the real world, Ben finds that all his aliens have returned to the Omnitrix. They leave Max to continue playing the game as they head outside. The episode Super Alien Heroes starts with Ben and Gwen enjoying the cartoon Super Alien Hero Buddy Adventures. When the rust bucket breaks down near Planetary Studios, Ben aims to meet his hero, Kangaroo Commando. At the park, he encounters a character resembling 4 Arms Handy Buddy. Ben confronts the show's creator, Tim Dean, about the similarity of his characters. During a stunt show, Ben, as Heat Blast, intervenes to save Kangaroo Commando and Will North from a perceived fire. Abel, mistaking Ben for working with Tim Dean, battles him. Ben reverts back to himself after failing to ignite another fire. As events unfold, Ben and Gwen become entangled in conflicts involving Abel, Tim Dean, and the amusement park. They uncover evidence against Tim Dean, leading to a confrontation between Abel and Tim. The situation escalates when Abel discovers explosives and Ben, as Stinkfly and Gwen try to gather evidence but are caught by security. Eventually, the truth is revealed, exposing Kane, Abel's brother, as the mastermind. Ben, as Will Vine, battles Kane to save Tim and Abel. In the end, Kane is defeated and Tim and Abel reconcile. Max returns with Super Alien Hero Buddy figures for Ben, concluding the episode with a mix of adventure and reconciliation. Todd Maplewood and his friends attempt cow tipping, but they encounter a mummy instead. Max signs Ben and Gwen up for farm camp at the Maplewoods farm to teach them about hard work. While at the farm, Ben is forbidden from using his aliens to complete chores. Todd tries to warn them about the mummy, but his mother stops him. Ben and Gwen investigate, encountering mutant cows and the mummy digging for corrodium. During a confrontation, Ben transforms into XLR-8 but reverts back after a fight with the mummy. Back at the farm, Ben uses his aliens to complete chores secretly. They learn about the mummy's search for corrodium and track it to a factory. In the battle, Ben transforms into Diamond Head to unearth corrodium, but the mummy arrives. Gwen and Max protect themselves from corrodium while Ben fights the mummy. Despite Ben's attempt to transform into Snarrow, he becomes Upgrade and freezes the mummy. They bury the mummy and Max reassures them about the mutated cows in guard. Ben and Gwen promise to do their chores without complaint, and Max agrees not to return them to the farm, reminiscing about his own farm experiences. The Tennysons attend a music festival where a weather robot, Scythiam, malfunctions and creates chaos. Ben's attempt to transform into Ripjaws fails, and he becomes Heat Blast instead, fighting off a water monster. Max refuses to take Ben to a sumo slammer convention, causing tension between them. Meanwhile, Gwen enjoys the festival, but Ben feels bitter. As SAM causes further havoc, Ben transforms into XLR-8 and saves festival goers from lightning strikes. XLR-8 battles the cloud monster created by SAM and eventually defeats it with the help of salt trucks. Despite Ben's desire to attend the sumo convention, Max redirects them back to the festival where the shag carpeting concert is still on. They discover Scythiam controlling a water monster and realize it can be defeated with a specific sound frequency. Ben transforms into 4 Arms and, with Gwen and Max's help, shorts out Sam afterward. Max offers to take Ben to the sumo convention, but Ben chooses to stay and enjoy the concert instead, showing a newfound appreciation for the festival. At a Philadelphia carnival, Ben fails a game but witnesses thieves stealing the Liberty Bell. In the chaos, Ben accidentally cheats using gray matter, winning a jar of jelly beans. Later, at a baseball game, Ben uncovers a team of androids kidnapping players, including his bullies Cash and JT. Unable to transform due to his earlier cheating, Ben, Max, and Gwen discover the androids' plot to replace the president with a robot duplicate. Ben, as Diamond Head, rescues Cash and JT and confronts the androids, defeating them, revealing his cheating to Max and Gwen. At the baseball game, Ben, posing as Cash, helps secure a victory, but Coach Finn reveals himself as a robot and attacks. Ben defeats him but receives no credit for his heroics. As Enoch plots revenge, Ben learns the value of fair play and admits his faults. In the Arctic, Ben and Gwen stumble upon an alien named Xylene emerging from a pod, triggering the arrival of mechadroids. Meanwhile, Max grapples with feelings of loneliness. Xylene, seeking the Omnitrix, battles Ben when he transforms into Heat Blast. Max intervenes, revealing his history with Xylene from his plumber days. Ben's skepticism towards Xylene grows as they confront mechadroids, machines sent by Vilgax. As the conflict escalates, Ben transforms into 4 arms to combat the mechadroids, aiding Max and Xylene. However, their victory is short-lived as the mechadroids rebuild themselves. Amidst the chaos, Xylene and Max reminisce about their shared past, prompting Ben's frustration and questioning of his role with the Omnitrix. Xylene clarifies that the Omnitrix was meant for Max, not Ben. Feeling misunderstood and underappreciated, Ben lashes out, expressing his desire to relinquish the Omnitrix. However, Xylene emphasizes its importance and the looming threats they face. Recognizing Ben's similarities to Max, Xylene urges him to protect the Omnitrix. When mechadroids abduct Max, Ben, Gwen, and Xylene unite to rescue him. Xylene unlocks a new alien form for Ben, Perk Upchuck, instructing him to consume the mechadroids. In a climactic battle, Upchuck devours the mechadroids, saving Max and neutralizing the threat. As Xylene departs, she shares a heartfelt moment with Max, affirming his bond with Ben and Gwen. Max chooses to stay with his family, cementing their unity. The Tennysons encounter a series of chaotic events involving escaped prisoners, purple lightning, and alien threats. While attempting to intervene, Ben's transformations often go awry, complicating their efforts. At the Kennedy Space Center, they confront Dr. Victor, who is controlling the lightning and working with the mummy and the werewolf. Ben engages in a battle with the werewolf, but struggles with his transformations until becoming Cannonbolt. Meanwhile, Dr. Victor's true intentions are revealed as he resurrects his master, Scare. As Ben confronts Victor aboard his ship, Victor activates a portal, endangering everyone. Ben transforms into XLR-8 to battle Victor, but is overpowered. Meanwhile, Max and Gwen, wearing hazmat suits, enter the ship to stop Victor's plans. They find themselves facing off against the resurrected Scare, setting the stage for a perilous showdown in space. With their foes closing in, the Tennysons must unite their efforts to thwart Victor and Scare's nefarious scheme. As the situation escalates, Ben's courage and resourcefulness will be put to the ultimate test in a battle for Earth's safety against formidable extraterrestrial adversaries. As Ben faces off against Scare and Dr. Victor aboard the space station, his transformations prove pivotal in thwarting their plans. Despite the Omnitrix's unexpected choices, Ben utilizes his alien forms strategically to outmaneuver his adversaries. Meanwhile, Max and Gwen find themselves in a perilous situation after being ejected into space by the mummy. With their hazmat suits compromised, they must improvise to survive while working to stop the spread of the corrodium beam. In a tense battle aboard the space station, Ben's resourcefulness shines as he confronts Scare and Victor. Utilizing his newfound alien abilities, Ben outwits his foes and prevents the corrodium from being unleashed upon Earth. However, the situation escalates as Scare gains the upper hand, leading to a climactic showdown in space. With the fate of the world hanging in the balance, Ben, Gwen, and Max demonstrate their unwavering determination to protect humanity. As they face overwhelming odds, their teamwork and resilience are put to the test. Ultimately, through quick thinking and courage, they emerge victorious, averting global catastrophe and defeating their formidable adversaries. As they return to Earth and reflect on their harrowing ordeal, Ben realizes the strength of their bond as a team. Yet, the discovery of Ghost Freak's presence within the Omnitrix hints at lingering challenges to come, reminding them that their adventures are far from over. Season 4. The thrilling adventure begins with Ben, Gwen, and Max chained to a device built by Dr. Anemo, who reveals his plan to detonate a DNA bomb connected to a nuclear reactor, which would de-evolutionize the world. As Ben transforms into various alien forms to combat Anemo's mutant creations, he ultimately overloads the reactor to stop the bomb, but inadvertently triggers the Omnitrix's self-destruct mode. The Omnitrix's countdown accelerates, forcing the Tennysons to embark on a desperate quest to find Azimuth, the Omnitrix creator, who can deactivate the self-destruct sequence. Along the way, they encounter Tetrax, who aids them in their journey, and Myax, Azimuth's assistant, who leads them to Incarsican, where they discover Azimuth's true location on Xenon. However, their mission is complicated by the relentless pursuit of Vilgax and his bioids, leading to intense confrontations and sacrifices. Despite the challenges, Ben remains determined to save the universe and confronts Azimuth, demanding him to stop the countdown. Through a harrowing battle against Vilgax's forces, Ben ultimately convinces Azimuth to reactivate the Omnitrix, allowing him to transform into Way Big and defeat Vilgax. With the crisis averted and the Omnitrix restored, Azimuth entrusts Ben with a device acknowledging his growth and selflessness. At the end of the movie, Tetrax drops Ben and Gwen off on Earth with a new hoverboard and leaves. Afterwards, the Tennysons hear a radio bulletin from the Rust Bucket that zombies are attacking the mall, and the movie ends as the team prepares to fight them. In episode Perfect Day, Ben wakes up to a seemingly perfect day, but soon finds himself facing off against alien adversaries 66 and Vulcanus. Despite the chaos, Ben manages to save the day with his Diamond Head form, earning the gratitude of some cheerleaders, including his old friend Kai. The day continues to unfold positively as the Tennysons enjoy a fun outing at pizza and play. However, things take a strange turn when duplicate versions of Max and Gwen appear, leading to a confusing confrontation. Eventually, the situation escalates when Lieutenant Steele accuses Max and Gwen of being imposters working for Vilgax. Vilgax himself arrives, sparking a battle that culminates in Ben using the Null Void projector to defeat him. But the twist comes when it's revealed that this seemingly perfect day was actually a dream induced by Enoch and the Forever Knights. Trapped in a nightmare version of school, the Tennysons must navigate through challenges and face off against enemies like Kevin 11. With quick thinking and teamwork, they manage to escape the dream and defeat Enoch. In a final twist, Enoch's attempt to remove the Omnitrix from Ben's wrist backfires, leaving him to face the consequences of his actions. As the Tennysons depart, a new threat emerges within the ranks of the Forever Knights, setting the stage for future confrontations. Dr. Anemo escapes from prison using a mutant seagull and sets out to seek revenge on Ben. Meanwhile, Ben, Gwen, and Max are enjoying a day at the beach until Ben's irresponsible behavior causes trouble. When Ben tries to fight the mutant seagull as Stinkflea, he accidentally transforms into a new alien called Ditto. Despite Ditto's inexperience, he manages to outsmart the seagull with his ability to duplicate himself. However, one of the Dittos is captured by Anemo, prompting the others to rescue him. As they approach Anemo's base, the Dittos realize they need to rejoin as one before the Omnitrix times out. Eventually, they succeed and revert back into Ben just in time to face Anemo's mutant squid. Ben transforms into Upbraid and defeats the squid, but Anemo arrives on a giant mutant hybrid creature. Anemo uses Ditto's powers to create an army of mutant hybrids, but Ben, Gwen, and Max work together to destroy them. In the end, Anemo is defeated and returned to prison, and Max ensures that Anemo's access to the Omnitrix is revoked. Ben learns the importance of teamwork and decides to have fun Max and Gwen's way from now on. As they race back to the beach, Ben is left behind without the use of the Omnitrix, but he's content with the adventure they've had. On a stormy night, Hex, weakened by old age, seeks the Fountain of Youth from a magic shopkeeper who refuses. In a fit of rage, Hex attacks the shopkeeper, who gives him water from the fountain and directs him to its source. Meanwhile, the Tennysons visit Street Augustine, where Max, struggling with his age, faces taunts from Ben. At a carnival, Max, now aging rapidly, tries the dump tank despite warnings. Hex arrives, causing chaos and a clash ensues. Ben transforms into Cannonbolt to combat Hex, but Hex disappears, leaving Max trapped under a ride. After Ben and Gwen rescue Max, he turns into a child. Max revels in his youth, annoying Gwen. Suspecting the water's influence, they investigate, discovering it came from a manufacturer. Pursued by police, Ben transforms into a child 4 arms, leading them to the manufacturer. They find the attendant bound by Hex, who unleashes a robot. Ben, as Wildmet, battles the robot, saving the group. Hex pursues the fountain, guarded by Hector, who warns of its curse. The Tennysons confront Hex, but the cave collapses. Ben becomes Stinkfly to fend off attacking plants and reaches the cave with Hex. Hex deflects Gwen's spell, leading to a clash with Heat Blast. In a tantrum, Heat Blast causes the fountain to explode, reverting Hex and restoring Max and Ben's ages. Back at the Rust Bucket, the effects wear off, and they reflect on the importance of time. Meanwhile, Charmcaster revels in her newfound power over a toddler Hex. The episode starts with Ben reluctantly trying on a tuxedo, a heirloom from Max for a wedding. At the wedding venue, tensions rise between the families, with the groom's family opposing the marriage. Joel, the groom, confides in Max about the problems. Ben learns he has to dance at the wedding, adding to his frustration. Later, Ben sneaks away to the lake but encounters trouble when a mud creature attacks. Transforming into Cannonbolt, he inadvertently causes chaos at the wedding. Mistaken for a wedding crasher, Ben faces opposition from Joel's family until Gwen's spell creates an opportunity for him to escape. Back at the Rust Bucket, Max reveals the feud between the families, plumbers and sludge puppies. He suspects someone wants to sabotage the wedding to maintain the feud. During dinner, Ben meets Lucy, the flower girl, and Gwen offers to teach him to dance. The situation escalates when Camille's ex-boyfriend, a mud alien, attacks. Ben transforms into Diamond Head to defend Joel and fights the alien. At the wedding, Camille's parents transform into mud aliens and disrupt the ceremony. Realizing the Mans are behind the chaos, Ben transforms into Heat Blast and engages in battle. With Camille's unexpected transformation into a sludge puppy, the plumbers gain an advantage. The Mans merge into a giant mud alien, but Heat Blast overcomes them, allowing the wedding to continue. At the reception, Ben dances with Lucy, but a mishap ruins Max's beloved tuxedo. Despite the chaos, the wedding concludes and Ben playfully crashes wedding photos before the episode ends. This episode follows the Tennysons as they encounter the Road Crew, a band of pirates led by Baron Highway, while traveling on a deserted road. Ben's attempt to transform into XLR-8 backfires, leading to chaos as they try to fend off the attackers. Seeking refuge in Lawrence Wainwright's luxurious RV, they continue their journey after repairs. As they hit the road again, Ben's antics lead to trouble, and the Road Crew launches another attack, modifying the Rust Bucket into a formidable weapon. The Tennysons, aided by the waitress from Wainwright's RV, pursue the Road Crew, with Ben transforming into Upgrade to confront the Rust Bucket on a train. However, the Road Crew fights back, forcing Gwen and Max to intervene using their magic and resourcefulness. They disable the Rust Bucket, thwarting the Road Crew's plans. In the aftermath, the Tennysons reflect on their adventure while enjoying a carton of melted ice cream, relieved that they can continue their journey in the now-repaired Rust Bucket. After Ben thinks he's broken Gwen's computer, he sneaks off and enters an ultimate wrestling competition to win enough money to buy her a new one. On the mat as Four Arms, he becomes an instant celebrity hit with the fans and ends up going up against a tandem of odd-looking brothers with special mutant-like powers. Initially adversaries, Ben and the brothers become allies when Ben discovers the brothers are beholden to a powerful mob boss. Ben helps the brothers defeat the mob boss and his henchmen, and in the end realizes Gwen's computer was never really broken. We're back in the future with Ben 10,000, and this time he has his son, Ken. On Ken's 10th birthday, Ben gives him his very own Omnitrix. Ben must come to learn to trust Ken with the power of the Omnitrix. Along the way, Ken befriends a kid named Devlin. Devlin turns out to be Kevin 11's son and was merely using Ken so he could break his dad out of the null void. Ben 10,000 and Ken then team up to take down Kevin 11. As for Devlin, he comes to realize his dad is a jerk and realizes the error of his ways. He's able to redeem himself, proving he's a good kid and joining forces with Team Tennyson. Ben instinctively thwarts jewel thieves in a helicopter, leading to their arrest. Later, Max picks up his grandson Cooper and they vie for a radio contest, which they lose. Cooper reveals he has a movie premiere ticket and they decide to go. Meanwhile, the circus freaks, led by Sublimino, hypnotize guards and breach F. Knox. Ben, Gwen, Max, and Cooper investigate, finding a hidden plumber base. Meanwhile, the Red Knight steals technology from the freaks. In Seattle, Cooper's invention causes chaos, but Ben, as Diamond Head, saves them. They encounter the -10, including Robo, Charmcaster, and Anemo, who steal a component related to this sub-energy. Despite the Tennysons' efforts, the villains escape. Max explains the component's significance and they head to Mount Rushmore, where they face the -10. The -10, led by the Forever King, attacks the Tennysons and Cooper at Mount Rushmore. The Rust Bucket's defense mechanism repels their initial assault, but they breach it. Ben uses holograms to distract them while the real group escapes. Cooper reveals he can manipulate machines and opens a hidden hatch, leading them into an old plumber base. They observe Ben fighting the -10 via surveillance. Cooper's ability aids their defense as they prepare for the final showdown. Max recognizes the Red Knight as an ex-plumber named Driscoll. They confront him and battle ensues, with Cooper's drones turning against them. Ben transforms into Weldman and fights Anemo, while Max sets explosives to destroy the base. Inside, Cooper is manipulated by Driscoll, but is saved by Max. The Tennysons confront the -10, with Gwen and Max engaging their foes while Ben transforms into I-Guy. They outwit the villains, but Driscoll gains control of the sub-energy. Ben destroys Driscoll's tank, but he becomes supercharged. One spell immobilizes the -10 as Ukchuk defeats Driscoll, sacrificing himself to destroy this sub-energy. Cooper admits he deceived them to connect with his family. So that will be it from us. If you enjoyed the video, then do let us know about your favorite alien of the series. Also, leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for similar content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you at the next one.